One feature of the Oasis project bid that a lot of folks forget is that you can actually adjust the columns that show and even the width of what they are and save those as the preference for the person that's logged in. And you can also create a layout, which we'll go into a little bit more here in a second. But the first thing is, a lot of times when I return to an agency for whatever reason, I'll often see a quote that basically resizes the catalog number field here, save and close out, and then come right back in later, only to find that that catalog number's small again, and then they resize it to quote again. Well, please quit doing that, because all you really have to do to remember the size is make it whatever the size is you like, go to File, Preferences, and hit OK. Now that will become the default layout or the width for this quote and the next one that I create. So it's just one thing to keep in mind, so you don't have to worry about resizing that each time. So that's just basic preferences. But another thing you can do is double click on a column and it'll right size the width there, which is kind of nice. And again, File, Preference, so it'll remember that as well. But the other thing that's nice about preferences, I can add and move columns around. So if I like my note column here, that's fine. Maybe I want to move it to the end. So what I'll do is go to File and Preferences, literally take that column there for note, and I'll move it down. And that looks about correct there. Hit OK, and now it's moved to the end. Okay. Now, if you drag a column, that's again considered a temporary item. So if I save and close out, or even File Preference, it'll simply snap back to whatever it was previously. So now my description column snapped back to where it was. But my note column down here at the bottom is saved and stored over in that location. Now, it didn't change the data, it just moves it over there for me viewing on screen here. Another thing that's real common is once I finally get the layout I like, and especially for a group that wants to share a similar layout, they'll go into Layouts and say Save Layout. So what I'll do is I'll say, I'll put this as my commissioning layout or my bidding layout or pricing layout or whatever it is, and hit OK. Now it is a saved layout, so if I come back in, by the way, I saved this default one so I can take a look at it was previously, or I can flip it back to commissioning. Now, one thing to consider on this is if you do save layouts, don't forget that the other person has their column set up in a certain way when they sent the quote out to the customer. If you open up someone else's project and go in and immediately resize it, you may hide information. And that's basically a little thing to remember there, is the reason why we save the layout with the project is we've had cases early on where different quoters were looking at the same project and gave the wrong number to the customer, and that's a bad thing. Anyway, watch the column layouts on that.